Then shifting our perspective little broader, I would like to ask another question. What was your experience in general of the overall course itself? So if you go to your handbook at the last, there are 3 questions that they ask. This is page number lesson 19, self-assessment, personal best worksheet. And after that, there is appendix 3, course assessment worksheet. So I want you to take at least 10 minutes time to peacefully write down appendix 3, course assessment worksheet. All of us want growth, but we resist change. Have you seen that? It's a very interesting psychology. Somebody wants growth, but he doesn't want to change. But growth means change. So how will you get growth without change? So this artificial dvandva, dichotomy we have created, we have to first settle that in our own heart. We have to start approaching people, situations and our communities with a new, fresh outlook. And the classic example of this is how Lord Brahma, when he understood that there was something wrong with his mental attitude while the creation process was taking place, he shared away, he cast away that body. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport what he did exactly was, he cast off that mentality. So similarly, our mentality is nothing can change, everything is like this only, and ISKCON se USKCON tak. I heard from one ear and I take it out from another ear. I don't think much will work in a setting that I have. So we first need to address this as an issue. Personally, speaking about my own life, whether things around me I have been able to make revolutionary change or not, I can honestly tell you I have become much better and changed person than what I was before after having undergone this course. And maybe those devotees who stay with me in my temple, you can ask them if they have found some change in me in last 5-7 years. And besides that, if they have found some change in our temple, at least in the domain where I render service, whether those areas are doing some positive good, than typical way of working. And I think many of them will tell yes, that there is a much better working culture, much better understanding of how to deal with people. There is much better productivity of what we do. So all credits to the learning gathered here in eyelids and this leadership and management course. I would like to now speak briefly on 3 major issues: attitude, intrinsic security and contribution. Just as a conclusion to this whole discussion, attitude is the advanced man of our true selves. Just like before you go to another location, Srirangam, you send an advance party and they do certain setting for you. So when we are interacting with people, situation, leadership as a service, even before we go into a forum, who goes? Our attitude goes there. He's the advanced man. It is the roots of this attitude are inward and its fruit is outward. What does that mean? It starts here. There is a saying, keep diligently your heart, because from there flow all the issues of life. Keep diligently your heart, because from there flow all the issues of life. And every time we become so depressed, unhappy, we have to remember those 2 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita that Krishna speaks to Arjuna. You can even chant them 108 times. Ashochanyanvashochastvam pradnyavadam shabhashase Gatasu na gatasum shananu shochanti panditaha. And the second one, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtikaram arjuna klaibyam masmagamah partha naitatvai upapadyate shudram hrudaya daurbalyam tyaktvotishtha parantapa. What classic verses to bring about a drastic change in our attitude towards things around us. So every time I get depressed in my life, I do two things. I really recite these shlokas. And secondly, I go and sit in front of Prabhupada's Vigraha in the temple and read Leelamrut out loud. And then a lot gets resolved. And then you come back again and start fighting. So roots are inwards, fruit is outward. Attitude is our best friend and worst enemy. Attitude is more honest and consistent than our words, which means our words may sometimes cheat others. But our attitude always speaks the truth. People get to know. An outward look based on our past experience. What is attitude? It's an outward look based on our past experience. And then it's a thing that draws people to us or repels them from us. Very subtly active in an interaction. Attitude is never content until it is expressed. Sometimes we try and hide our real motives and attitudes, but we know they actually come out at the most unexpected moment. People get to know about them. Now these three are interesting one. Attitude is the librarian of our past, speaker of our present, and prophet of our future. So if there is one thing I would like you to work upon after having heard all this, is how to set right our own. We say Krishna consciousness. What does that really mean? What does Krishna consciousness mean? Placing Krishna in our consciousness. That's one meaning. Another, becoming conscious of Krishna while doing everything. And first be conscious, then Krishna conscious. Okay. Yes?
As you were telling yesterday in Bhagavatam class, it means two things. One is Anusmriti and Niswartha Seva.
Okay, that's practical application. I am asking for the term Krishna consciousness. It literally also means to see everything from perspective of Krishna, not our own limited perspective. How Krishna sees. So, this is one thing a leader should always work upon to render quality service. Now, I would like to speak briefly on this topic called intrinsic security. All of us, to the degree we feel sheltered, we can give shelter. If we are having lack of intrinsic security, surakshita bhavana, and we start doing leadership, we actually make people more insecure through our leadership. What is the proof of a good leadership? People who are sheltered under a good leader become fearless of material nature. That is a statement in Bhagavatam. In the kingdom of Ambarish Maharaj, his citizens were free from the fear of Maya. That is like a unbelievable statement. So, in order to give that type of shelter where people become thoroughly fearless, we need to first feel well sheltered and fearless within our heart. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavasthiti. Krishna is describing symptoms of real renunciation. So, how to get this intrinsic security? So, the first consideration is spiritually rich personal life. Abiding by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra to receive and live in Krishna's love. We have to see all the rules and regulations given, especially in our sadhana bhakti, as a loving embrace of Krishna to us. Just like sometimes there is a naughty child, and what does the child typically want to do? If the mother observes that it is dangerous, she usually pulls the child, puts on her lap, and gives a tight embrace. And you have seen these naughty children when they are sitting like that, what do? No, they are, in Marathi they call chulbul. They have their own movement. And they want to get freed from that. Similarly, we all have experience, bodo dukha paiyachi swatantra jivane, dukha dure gelo opada varane. So every time we are given freedom, our mischievous mind takes over and we start doing all kinds of nonsense. But the same thing, we remain within the custody of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. It's not a custody like a prison. It's a safe shelter, sanctuary. Let's call that word. Soul sanctuary. When we stay in such an atmosphere like a temple or our devotee communities, we should feel sheltered, following all the rules and regulations given by our acharyas on a daily basis, and really practice sadhana bhakti very rigorously. That is the first source of intrinsic security in the heart. The second one is to have a family. Now you may say, I am a brahmachari, what are you telling me? This family refers to a family of sincere and progressive Vaishnavas. We should at least have few people with whom we can spend quality time one-on-one together, where we can reprove each other, where we can share with each other, and we care for each other, where we can make an offering together to Krishna. If we don't create this facility for ourselves, usually that happens because of bitter experiences with people or ego or introvert nature, whatever reasons. I have been again and again urging, build teams and be sheltered in them, instead of trying to become a independent lion roaring in independent jungle. The more we try to do this, we will become actually greatly successful. Become an assistant of a million geniuses. That is what leader is. Leader doesn't mean he's the one fellow at the top ruling over everybody. That's not a leader. So that's about creating a family culture around ourselves. Third, intrinsic security we can get is from nature. You see this Avadhut Brahmana, 24 gurus. He's going around very thoughtfully doing outrospection. You have heard the term introspection? Of where, by Atma Parikshan, you bring about lessons for life. But he was doing outrospection. There is no such a term in English. It's a coined word by me. So outrospection means you become very thoughtful, because there is Ishvara, Jiva and Prakriti. They are always working in tandem. So Prakriti gives you a lot of indications as to where you need to change your course of action. So let us start treating people as mirrors. And let's start treating situations as mirrors rather than the problem. And this is what we mean by nature. So frequently, not frequently meaning all the time, but ekaki rahasi sthitaha, Krishna says, my devotee has liking for vivikta desha sevitvam arati jana samsadi. Taking out time for some self development and staying as close to nature as possible to sharpen our 5S: shiksha, sadhana, sangha, seva, sankirtan. So if you don't find nature means like a mountain and a river flowing and all that stuff around you, make temple hall your nature, or create a facility where you can go and do some serious heart work. Through that one will get intrinsic security. This CRSP means what you do in that time when you are close to nature: contemplation, review, study, and planning. This is what you do when you are with yourself. So contemplate, keep a spiritual diary in which you daily write valuable insights, learnings, wisdom, instructions gathered from superiors. You may categorize them in 3 dimensions: self development, loving relationships, and service contribution. And revisit them regularly. That is like your personal treasure house, which really realigns you with God and His mission. So regularly revisit that treasure house when you are alone. That's called contemplation. Review your 5S. What have you done? And then plan for the future 5S. I hope by now 5S has become a regular word here. And then study. What study? Study what I need to do now in coming day or week or year to accomplish my goals. That study. This study is not Prabhupada book study. That is separate. This is study of your life. So that is called CRSP. This is another way to gather intrinsic security. The fourth way is education. Take to continual education, being a constant learner. Courses, discussion forums, organized reading programs. Find out some devotees with whom you can do these things regularly together. Dedicated, continuous self-improvement. Even Srimati Radharani thinks that she is not doing best. She could do better in Krishna's service. Who are we to become complacent? So, education, the more we become equipped, the more confident we feel of rendering services and dealing with people and handling Krishna's energies. Then the fifth source of intrinsic security is our temples or communities in which we stay. Do regular deity worship. Be fanatic about it. That certain day or certain offerings or artis or deity dressing, I will do it, no matter what comes around in the world. So this deity worship and regularly relating to the deity, Ishtadeva, that you worship, creates a very great security in the heart. You know that I am part of a big family and my head of family are such wonderful people. To the devotees around you, render anonymous service. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu folded the clothes of Vaishnavas, cooked and fed them nice prasadam. Anonymous service. Don't make full announcements about what you are doing. This anonymous service has tremendous potency in making us feel sheltered because we go closer to our truer nature. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. The more we go closer to that, we feel happy being in the role of a servant. And try to go extra mile and ask this question always: how can I best serve? So to this person or to our community or to the deities, and regularly work on this aspect of temple being our sanctuary, a safe place to practice spiritual culture. Yet another way to get intrinsic security is our daily work or service. Sometimes we underestimate this. I had last time asked that question: how many of you had this experience that you spend some time in the temple and after a few years you basically are spending days doing nothing? So that is one of the reasons why a person becomes insecure in life, because his inbuilt talents and capacities have no expression, meaningful expression. Person becomes tremendously insecure. So keep uninterrupted blocks of time for creative planning, communication and services. Uninterrupted blocks of time, which means you are a hands-on man at that time. हाथ पैर हिला के सेवा करना है and producing tangible results at the end of it. That is called getting into daily work. Yet another way to get intrinsic security as a leader is to develop faithfulness towards Paramatma in the heart. Fidelity. He is our master, we are his Prakruti, and we have to become chaste to him. Live with integrity. Any internal disunity or disharmony with Paramatma puts us into great anxiety. So there is conscience, voice of Paramatma, that keeps telling us what to do, what not to do. The earlier we start abiding by those indications, the stronger we become in our security. Also, another way to develop this relationship with Paramatma in the heart, Krishna in the heart, is to observe how right things are coming at right time in your life, and how you are being cared for, you are being loved, and also you are being watched by the Lord. How many of you feel this in your life? Okay, so I think I'm not speaking something theoretical. Everyone here has some experiences. The more you start observing this, you actually know, I share a one-on-one relation with Krishna and he is there. And that is such a feeling in the heart. One becomes solidly situated. Yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. Situated in that presence of Paramatma, a person cannot be shaken up by even greatest miseries in his life. So, these are some of the sources from where a leader can develop intrinsic security, and please pay attention to them on a regular basis, whether you are gathering this intrinsic security for yourself or not. If a leader is not well sheltered, he actually makes people's lives miserable who are under them. So we have to Mahatmanastu maam partha daivim prakrutim ashritaha. So that verse of Bhagavad Gita is the only verse where Radharani is mentioned by Krishna on the battlefield. And it's a wonderful expression. He says, ashritaha. Please be sheltered in spiritual energy. Any comments or questions? Prabhuji is asking me to explain this a little. This is a topic very dear to my heart, and I never get tired speaking of it. There are three ways to look at our self-expression. Technically, this is called as Abhivyakti. Abhivyakti means self-expression. What do we exactly want in our life? We want self-fulfillment, which comes through self-expression. The term for self-fulfillment is Atma Rama. Atma Ramascha Munayaha. Nirgrantha Pyurukrame. So, if you typically ask people what do they really want, all that they want can be categorized in three ways. People want to be happy for themselves. People want love. They want to give love and receive love, unconditional and pure. And they want success in their efforts. All of us have a secret desire to be a glorious person. All of us have a secret desire to be a glorious person. Where does that come from? Krishna. Krishna has it. So we are also having it. So where do you get happiness, love and success from? The more you do self-development, the more you become happy. Happiness is not product of something external. The more you consistently work on the relationships and follow the principles that govern relationships, you can give and receive love very nicely. And the more you follow the SERAE, our last 5 things about process or project, that much, when sanctioned by Krishna, you can enjoy success. So self-development at its peak is called Namaruchi by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Loving relationships are termed Vaishnava Seva. And service contribution is called Jivadaya. At their best. One another way to look at this is through the lens of our Tattva. It's called Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik and Adhidaivik. What is our contribution towards nature, material nature around us? So we have not come here to pass tool. We have come here for some solid work. And we already delineated that 7 purposes is our target. How to fulfill this? In fact, we really don't mind taking births again and again to fulfill those 7 principles that Prabhupada gave. It is a wonderful life, being a devotee and a servant leader. Now, how to do this? So we had said you take to Shiksha and Sadhana, and here you do Sangha, follow those principles, Sajatiya, Swatovara, all that, and also interact with quality devotees, personalities around you. And here you do Seva and Sankirtan. For Grihasthas also there is Varnashrama Dharma that prominently comes in picture, their occupational duty. That's also a contribution they are making. So whatever we read, whatever wisdom you gather when you hear from various people, can be broadly categorized into these three forms. And you can then further build upon your contemplation, having distilled the wisdom in certain containers. कि ये जो बोल रहे हैं अभी ये इस बारे में बोल रहे हैं, सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट के बारे में बोल रहे हैं. ये जो बोल रहे हैं वो अभी रिलेशनशिप हैंडलिंग के बारे में बोल रहे हैं. ये जो बोल रहे हैं अभी हाउ टू रेंडर क्वालिटी सर्विस उसके बारे में बोल रहे हैं. लाइक दैट. So this is our goal, self-fulfillment through self-expression. Self-expression comes out in three ways: Swavikas, Premamai Sambandha, Samajik Yogdan, Seva Yogdan. And we have to really work on these three if we are to get anywhere in life. And it begins with self-development. To the degree we understand ourselves, we can start understanding others. So loving relationship requires self-development, and service contribution requires both, especially relationships. Without good relationships, you cannot do any good service. Lasting and meaningful contribution. Okay, any other? So lastly, I would like to address the issue of team building. I said I will talk about attitude, intrinsic security, and working with other people in a team. So here is a beautiful quote. Dear team, what all you do for me? You make me better than I am. Right? You all have the experience while doing your exercise. You multiply my value to others. You enable me to do what I do best. Because I can really focus on my core genius, delegating other things to other members. I can do best. You give me more time. You represent me where I can't go. You provide me a family to get nourished. You fulfill my abhilash, heart's desires. What are our heart's desires? SDLRSE, huh? What are our heart's desires? And I can never thank you enough. So please try and make a team in every service that you are performing of sincere Vaishnavas, and give them this letter at a certain point of time. And you also should become such a member of that team that others can write such a thing to you. Any comments or questions? So whatever now time remains, 15 minutes, I would exclusively dedicate to whatever you wish to talk about and get sorted. And I will only add in if there is any need. Any comments?
This course must have been taught many times, many places. So I want to ask, there must be some strategic planning or job description for many departments or for different services. If it is made and if some standard things are there, I wanted to ask if we can get something like that.
There is actually work going on where Gaurang Prabhu with some other team members, they were doing ISO standardization of various departments in Chowpatty. They have already done it for kitchen, I think Food for Life and some other Now they are currently working on congregation department. And then base, youth preaching. So what he is trying to do is, with the help of GBCs, to make a website where all the till date strategic planning, key result areas, various roles, goals, responsibilities, and the job descriptions and everything can be loaded. So that every time somebody has to hire, let's say, a receptionist for the temple, they don't need to scratch their brain too much. They can just go and read wonderful, skills and qualities required and responsibilities to be discharged, all in one place. And then they can add to it according to their requirement locally. So there is an effort going on in that direction. Every year, if you come for ILS ever, you will get to see sometimes there are presentations made about these kind of standardizations that are already put into the website. And if you make for anything, please send it across to them. They will actually upload it for others to view. This is what we mean. The lions should not roar in independent jungles. They should come stay together for a while and do this sharing, caring and offering together. We will do great work. Yes?
Like that website will come at certain time, or like whatever is ready?
I think it is functional.
Uploaded.
I don't remember the name. Vaushan Prue knows? Gaurang Prue, he gives that ILS presentation every time.
And he gives that presentation every time for ILS, and and he has made a sort of CD, and then whichever temples want, they can take it.
Yeah.
And that's what has been going on.
Yeah. So
And of course, official job descriptions from the GBC's point of view, that's currently being made basically for GBCs and zonal supervisors, and slowly they're coming down to making job descriptions for temple presidents.
thank you. Any other comments, questions? Yes.
Prabhuji, a few days before, 2 days before, you told the example of Prabhupada in the beginning. He was not having this everything, the systematic training, other things, no objectives, no job description. Still, Prabhupada started from the scratch, from the beginning. Then later, all this system and everything came up. Similarly, some examples I heard from outsiders, like when a famous actor is there, he become famous actor. So after becoming actor, that all acting school started. If a famous cook, he become a famous cook not by learning or training. He became, then all this process started. So similarly, many things started after that. So similarly, how we can have the faith on Krishna directly. So I can have faith on Krishna or system, or what exactly to understand these things, training organization.
There are people who say everything happens by nature, which means some people have inborn qualities and they become leaders and they do wonderful things. Others can try copy them, but they cannot be as original as those people. So that's one thought of people. Others, they say that leadership, or for that matter, any good personality is also product of nurture, not just nature. So by nature is like saying, if you take a imli ka seed, you can't get a mango tree out of that. It will get imli. So there are those who are like that. You have to have it inbuilt, only then you get something later on arranged. And these people who talk about nurture can bring about leadership, can bring about solid personalities. They believe in those verses that Bhagavatam talks about. What is that? Kansyam rasa vidhanataha. No. Dvijatvam jayate nrunam. Tasmat diksha vidhanena dvijatvam jayate nrunam. First line I'm forgetting. Anyways, that verse says that just like iron with an action of mercury can be made into gold. Similarly, by the process of diksha from a pure devotee, a very crude man who has no qualifications can be transformed into a flower like Vaishnava, powerful person. So association and training play a great role. So now it's up to us what we want to follow. If we want to feel that, okay, everybody is made leader by nature, so then anyways, I don't think I'm a leader right now because I have seen my performance with the way I am doing things around. And then we become like fatalistic. We say, well, भगवान चाहेंगे तो करेंगे कुछ तो. उनका मिशन है, उनको ही चलाना है. मैं क्या करूं? Or we may think that, oh, I got to know this nurture part of the story, and God helps those who help themselves. So we have to put our endeavor, and then Krishna will give his mercy. And tomorrow, who knows? If Krishna wants, in his service, Khuda meherban, to gadha pehelwan. So I will also become empowered and I will do some wonderful service. So let us not be pessimistic, and let us not think that, oh, well, everything happens by nature, what can I do? Let's work on nurture, because that's one thing that is under our control. Another is that Prabhupada gives this example for that Rabindranath Tagore. He never went to school and he got his PhD. And if we also think that I will also not go to school, I will not take any formal training, give any exams, and I should be awarded no PhD. That is not going to happen. We have to follow the regular course. And it is Prabhupada only who has told all these things. We can see so many quotes. Prabhupada is telling devotees, you have got this managerial experience in the outside world, make training programs, give our devotees some training, make them, do things properly. So it is a desire of an acharya when we are participating in this. We are not doing this in the mood that, oh, Krishna consciousness doesn't work. These managerial formulas and this thing works, so I better take shelter of them. That is not our mood. We know managerial maneuvering is part of my endeavor. But ultimately it is Krishna's mercy that will actually make me into a leader or duffer, whatever. So in that mood we should do this. Any other? Okay, anyone who would like to share any of their momentous moments in this course? Something that they heard or learned that was like it hit you like tons of bricks, as they call it. वो आपको हिला दिया पूरा उसने. What was that one learning that you have gathered from this course, which you find was the most memorable, and I think more important than that is transformational? You are going to really work on that in your life. And if you don't raise hands, I will send the mic in sequence, so everybody can speak. Yes. Give mic.
Rohi, when you took an example of a counselor, and then you discussed what is his role, what are the things in a counselor he has to look into it, and you took one part of it, a spiritual part, and you explained very widely. So sometimes we are very happy to accept a counselor, but how much things to be done? You said half-cooked counselor and half-cooked counselor. Half-cooked counselor.
Half-cooked.
Yeah,
Nim Hakim. Nim Hakim and Nim Mullah.
They can create a big design. So I thought that was my transformation. Like, I have to work on that because I don't want to spoil others and I don't want to get spoiled also. So I'll go and work on this. First of all, I should know what is my responsibility is, what I have to do. That I have to see. And from this I clearly understood, first of all we should understand where he stands and where we have to take it. Simply just giving something, some problem because you take this. I also does not have any clear-cut vision. And this is, I have felt what blunder I am doing. I'm just...
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Someone else? Hare Krishna.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Broji, so much. Whole course was very inspiring, and especially your presentations were very enlivening for us. So, amongst so many things to say that they're very touching to the heart, one very specific thing which is the topmost in my memory and the point of application is this MMOT. Modeling, mentoring, organizing and teaching. This is something which I really have understood that I am lacking so much, and of course many other things I am lacking so much, but this is like really top on my top priority list to get into, improve myself, think about, contemplate about. So I would like to really express my very heartfelt gratitude to you for so much of giving us lot of stuff to ruminate upon. So whole thing was eating till now. Afterwards we will ruminate and try to get something out of it. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
During the exercise that I personally realized that we are just sorting out a big thing and we are just taking only one point. That means down to line we are taking only role of one person. So one person has to do so much. So as a leader, he has to literally handle, I think for one project he has to literally handle more than 50 people. So how much that leader has to work on improving himself, that is very important.
Hare Krishna Guruji, thank you so much for such wonderful seminar. All the topics were really very important and very relevant for me and personal. And also this conclusion which you just now gave was very powerful. This attitude and intrinsic security and working with people. And we realize many times that of course there is a very long way to go. At the same time we are here so we can understand that how much hard work our leaders have done for us, our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, how much they have done, and it's our very big responsibility and a duty to carry this forward so that this movement continues to grow and we can assist in this mission of Srila Prabhupada. And all the sessions were very relevant for me personally, and for me this time management was very relevant. Also the importance of, like Anshu Prabhu said just now, modeling and mentoring was very important part. Thank you so much for it.
Hare Krishna. Of course, there are many things. Before the exercise, I was thinking that I'll make a whole my understanding of what I understood from the course. So now I will do. But very effective things in the very beginning of the course, we taught about leadership, difference between leaders and managers. That at least I have heard difference between leaders and managers many times. But this time it struck me very much the clarity with which it was there. The difference role of leader and manager and finding our place. So if we have leadership, then hire people who have management, and then if we are a manager type, then assist a person with a leader. So their responsibility and role, and then the servant leadership, which you gave us the exercise and other things. So that was also very wonderful how it should be. So that was.
One last thing, Lalit Madhavpur, then we conclude.
It was very important, I felt, because in every day we are doing so much management in our temple,
We are doing something and calling it as management.
Yes.
We are doing something and calling it as
preaching. What we were supposed to be thought it was management, but now we came to what is actual management. And especially I liked from this course was about this building trust and how we break trust. We want give one statement about every interaction we either building or breaking trust. So I really feel we have to see what interaction I have with others, whether it is breaking my trust on them or or building. So it is it's make me more introspective about the things in my life. That is something built.
So I would like to now conclude by folding my palms, going at your lotus feet and praying that I may be able to follow what I teach. And I especially want to thank every one of you for your enthusiastic and very eager participation. I especially thank Vamshivadan Prabhu. He invited me to come here, and Anuttam Prabhu, who taught me this course. Every time I give this course, I always strongly remember him, and I pray that he would be the person actually giving this course, because he has done this caliber leadership that we are supposed to talk about. And I especially want to thank my Shiksha Guru, Diksha Gurus, and especially Prabhupada, who has revealed to us this whole world of self-expression. It is like a whole new experience. And I, in conclusion, would like to say this much. What I have learnt in my life is to make growth possible. Stay in company of sincere people, sincere Vaishnavas. Be in a constant learning mode. And thirdly, give yourself incremental pushes to become better in all these aspects of life. And this is what I would consider as, the workable model. Because sometimes courses like this, learning so many things can be overwhelming. And we may start thinking, "Kaun karega ye sab?" So after I underwent this course, I also had a similar feeling, ki this is too much. And then finally I got this inspiration. I wrote this line on the main front page of my course book. It said, "Do your best willingly, continue learning happily." Do your best willingly and continue learning happily. Never become depressed or unhappy that there are too many things to be done. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpa